Hey YouTube, it's Cosmo here, and we're going to start playing another game, which is MDK 2. Now, if you saw my playthrough of MDK 1, you know that I was building up to it, and I finally got around to playing it, so this is what we're going to do tonight. Now, just to give you a bit of a background, so MDK 1 was made by Shiny, same people who made Earthworm Jim. MDK 2 was taken on by BioWare, you know, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, all that, you know, the creme of RPGs nowadays, and it was published by Interplay. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't exist. I think I was right. Now, I'm not going to give you too much of a backstory because if you are that interested, you can watch MDK 1 playthrough. But I think MDK 2 gives you a whole sort of previously on sort of story, just to give you a whole idea of what the game's about and everything. Now, it's not. This game was made in 2001. It's got its few flaws in terms of what it was, and it did come out on consoles as well, so it did okay. You know, it was a vast improvement on, say, the previous one, because it was actually true 3D. Now, just to note as this, I have experimented, as with all games, before I set up and start streaming, I do sort of check to make sure that the sound's right, the graphics look okay, and so on and so forth. There is a little bit of an issue with OBS. For some reason, sometimes the graphics get affected, or the screen sort of goes black and doesn't show you what's going on. Now, that will mean the only way to fix this is to sort of switch between the game and a different sort of scene. If you know what that OBS means, that means an OBS talk, then you'll understand better than I do. Now, I don't know why it fixes it, but it does. So it might be in cases that if I don't actually notice, because I'll be actually focusing on the game rather than OBS, which is over here, that you may only get a black screen, but you will get sound. Now, I'll try and keep an eye on it every time it happens. It usually only happens between sort of scenes. So the scene sort of changes to a cutscene, or what is an in-game cutscene, or it changes between certain parts of the level. Then it might freeze, it might not. It's difficult to actually find it because sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's a little annoying, but that's what happens when you're playing a game that's, you know, 14 years old. Now, there is an HD version that was made by Beamdog, but like most remasterings, or, you know, in changes, it's a question of whether it's worth doing. Now, at the moment, it's quite expensive for my tastes. You might say, well, you know, £10 isn't that much, but it is to me. And the only real improvement you get is a few graphical improvements, and the sound's improved, and apparently you get some adjustments in the actual gameplay, because there are sort of issues in the gameplay, and they make me quite apparent when I actually do play the game. So overall, to me, that says, well, look, I own the original. I've actually got it on a CD. I actually have it on Steam because it was on a sale or something. I forget why I picked it up, but I've got it already. I'm not going to spend extra money on the HD version, because if all I'm going to get is some improvement in graphics and stuff, that's not what I want. You know, I want the classic gameplay. I want a classic playthrough of a classic game, and I want it to look and feel just like it was when I first played it back in 2001. I think that's right, anyway. Maybe I should have looked it up before I started this video, but it doesn't matter. It came out in 2000s. You know, it's not that big a deal, is it, really? Right, anyway, I'm going to quick sort out the playthrough, and the next time you see me, I'll be sort of smaller and down here. So I'm going to split the part and see you on the other side.